Hey, this is Danny with the Agonist, and you're watching The Age of Metal.
Hi, this is Jackie with the Age of Metal, and here I am with Danny from the Agonist. How are you?
I'm doing very well. It's nearing the end of the tour, actually, but it's went a little fast because it's only 9 shows, but pretty happy to be here regardless.
So you guys are very different on the band on the tour right now, because right now you're with Corrosion of Conformity and Danzig with Doyle. Do you feel like you've made a lot of fans on this tour?
I think so. That's the point of us doing it. The main reason we usually go out as a support band is to try and gain fans that normally would never have heard us before, and that's definitely with this crowd. It's 90% of the audience, I think, has probably never heard of us, and that's beneficial for us. Basically, we're just out there to try and gain popularity and exposure, and so far it's been going really well.
So have a lot of people been picking up the album on this tour and kind of being really interested after your set?
Yeah, actually, album sales in general, it's like are very high on this tour. I think because a bit of an older crowd, they buy more CDs. You play for a younger crowd, it's a lot more T-shirts, but the CDs and posters and things like that, a lot of this crowd seems to buy more of. So that's a good thing for us as well. It's definitely a different tour for us than what we were maybe planning earlier in the year with Cradle of Filth.
Yeah, did you guys ever hear like they might put that tour back together in the future, or it's kind of like a done deal?
I think it's done. We hope that should they, obviously Cradle's going to try and tour the US again sometime. We hope that they would consider us again, as, we did our best to make sure where everything was in order and we were ready to go, and they were really happy about the professionalism in that area. So hopefully that'll happen, but there's no actual plan at all that I know of.
That would have been a really great tour. The lineup on that was really diverse. So
yeah, no, it was really cool, and we're friends with the Faceless already, and some of the people in the band were fans of Decapitated and Cradle of Filth, so it was pretty. People were pretty excited about that. To be honest, though, I mean the crowds on this tour, just because of Danzig, I think being a sort of legend, they are just like really great, and large venues, big crowds, sellouts kind of thing, so in the end it's it's still great. It's still working out for us, and we have a lot of other things that we're working on for later in the year.
So your latest album, Prisoners, has been out almost a year now. Do you feel like the album did really well?
I'm happy with how it did. I don't think it was like an explosion, but I think that it changed our stance in the industry. Most of the reviews on it and most of the general comments from fans were about how it's evolved and it's a lot more mature sound and this sort of a thing, and that's a huge compliment for me as a songwriter, that they're saying that from the first album, where it was like we were really young and we came out and all people were like, oh well, it's a girl singer and they're doing like metalcore music, and it's maybe it's just a fad thing or something, but like the people that really started following us knew that it wasn't some kind of generic fad music, and that there was something different behind it. I think that's what I hope, and it's evolved over the 3 albums, and I'm most happy, and I think everyone in the band is most happy with Prisoners so far as like a representation of what we are.
Yeah, I was going to say that it actually does sound different, and you can actually, listening back to your other albums, hear how your style has changed.
Yeah, I'm really happy about it. There was also a big shift from the first album to Lullabies, but now it's like more in a place, and I'm already writing for the new record, and that's again taking another step, I think, in that direction, which is more song-oriented music, not necessarily focusing it on just a collection of riffs or ideas, but trying to make really cohesive songs now. That's the goal of the 4th record.
Is there anything specifically that's kind of influencing you for the next record? Any certain bands or anything? You're just kind of feeling it out right now?
Kind of feeling it out at this point. what I'm listening to always changes. That's obviously affects my writing as well. I was listening to a lot of American metal and hardcore bands on the first record when I was like 19 years old, and then it evolved to the more European metal and Swedish metal, and all that came out maybe a bit on Lullabies. And then Prisoners, I got into a lot more progressive metal, things like Opeth, Mastodon, this kind of thing, and who knows, for the fourth, I listened to everything from the Beatles to Cannibal Corpse. So
you have to have variety.
Yeah.
You can't just be, stuck in one thing, because every style of music has its ups in it, and it also has its downs. So
yeah,
it's really good to have, a wide range of what you like.
For sure. Some of my favorite bands are, not metal at all, like Muse or the Mars Volta or Radiohead, or all these kinds of things. So I wouldn't make the Agonist sound like that directly, because it would make no sense, and we'd already established a sound by now. But to bring in some elements of it, I think would be cool.
So who else helps you write and record some of the album's riffs?
For writing, when it comes to the music, like the arrangements of the parts and the melodies of all the guitars and what the bass is to follow and all that, I write almost everything. Elisa writes all her own lyrics, and she writes her own vocal patterns. If she's gonna put a chorus, she's gonna write how that melody goes over top of my song. And Simon will also we'll jam out my songs and find beats that both of us are happy with for the song. He might have ideas that I think don't work, and then when hearing it back, I'm like, actually, you're right, that's better. But I'll already have an idea of what I think the drums should be on those parts, things like that. And on each album, there's one or two songs that are written by other people. For example, Simon also plays guitar, and he wrote Waiting Out the Winter on the second album. And on this album, Paco, our new guitarist, wrote Predator and Prayer. So there's always one or two. Maybe on the next one there'll be even more written by, I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's not like it's a rule. It just happens that way that I end up writing most of it. So.
You guys are French Canadian. Have you ever considered doing an album in French?
I don't think a whole album would happen. We did do one section of a song Elisa sang in French on Lullabies. That was a little hey to our homeland kind of thing. We're not actually we all speak French, but it's not like we are French Canadians, except Paco he's the only one. We all grew up, or English descent, living in Montreal. So if you're living in Montreal, you just have to speak French. You have to learn the language, because most things are in French, but there's still a decent English population. So we went to English schools and we learned French as the second language in the school, that kind of a thing. So I don't know. I wouldn't see us doing a whole album, but parts are cool.
With your photo albums, for the photography for the albums and stage attire, you guys wear white shirts. Is there anything significant about that?
Well, the only significant thing about it being white is just that blood shows up on it. That would be, but it was also, in a way, it was kind of we're sick of wearing black. We're sick of that motif of you're a metal band, you wear all black. I don't even, on my usual day, I don't wear black. I try not to wear black shirts anymore, just because I'm I have 100 of them. You know what I mean? It's we don't want to be a part of that generic sort of stigma of this is what metal is in this box. And we always try to just, every album, we try to have a theme and a look that stands out. On the second album, we had that very Victorian theme, and we rented out a castle to do the photos in, and we went all out with that. And then on this one, it was the fight scene. So we always try to find something that's unique. We don't want to be that band wearing Slayer shirts against the brick wall. It's been done. So
yeah, the photos were very colorful and vivid, so they were really cool.
I'm really happy. The latest one I'm thrilled with. The whole band is we got to work with an amazingly talented photographer, Ben Von Wong. It's Von Wong Photography. He's a good friend of mine, and it's just every day he's putting out new great things. So I was really happy how that turned out.
So a couple months ago, you guys did go to Japan and South America, and it looked like you got a really great response from the crowds there. Is there any other countries you guys wanted to go to?
We've done one European tour and we didn't get to touch all of it, so that's something that's in the works for later this year. And we've never been to Australia. We'd love to hit the Soundwave Festival down there. That's a great thing, and the European festivals. For South America and Japan, we're pretty set up, to be honest. I think we've set up a really good following and a good. We headline when we go there. It's not a support slot. We've established a scene for ourselves, so for years to come, I think. So we're always going to go back there to those places.
Is it kind of something incredible to think that people in different countries that don't even speak English as their first language love you guys so much, and you're able to headline those types of tours? Definitely.
It's completely overpowering, to be honest, sometimes when you get there and you see it and there's that many people, and it's on the other side of the world and everything like that, and we've worked really hard to get where we are, so it's a very good feeling, that sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, it's really great that you guys get to do that, because you're from Canada, and in South America and Japan, probably it's hard to get music, and metal's probably not that accessible to them. I know that in countries like Peru, there's hardly any metal shops over there.
Yeah, I think it's finally getting less and less taboo. That's why bands like us are being able to go there now, and it's great. And what's really cool about that is that it's fresh. In America, and Europe, metal's old.
Yeah.
It's a lot more fresh. It's almost like it's like the late 80s there now for metal. It's exploding. Metal's bigger than rock in some places. So it's great for us.
You guys love to do video updates of your tours, and you post the videos on YouTube. Do you feel like you guys should put together a DVD, because some of the material that you have recorded is really silly, and it looks like you guys have a really good sense of humor?
I think it's going to happen eventually. We don't have enough to go with right now, but it's always been a long-term plan, maybe after the next album, something like that. Yeah. We want to do it well, though. We want to give people a really good. There's some bands that don't end up, they just do a DVD because, maybe I can something else I can sell. But I want a DVD that really is going to make people want to watch it and show their friends and watch it again. And for me, I watched Dave Grohl's Back and Forth Foo Fighters DVD and Sound City, and those for me are really encompassing DVDs that cover things well and professionally, and it's that's the kind of DVD we want to have. So we're probably going to hire some kind of crew to do that with us. The good thing about DVDs sometimes is you get to show what goes behind the scenes, and they kind of feel like they know you as people. I know the Black Dahlia Murder, a lot of their fans started feeling like they kind of knew them personally because they knew their personalities and stuff. That's what we try to do with the webisodes, I think. It's Chris, the bass player, that edits and puts those together, and that's kind of his attitude. He's a fun-loving guy, he likes to have a good time, he likes to laugh, so he tries to bring that across as the focal point almost of it. It's just want to make people have a laugh and tell their friends, kind of thing. Yeah, they're really funny. Yeah. So what's next for the Agonist? We're doing this, and then in July we're going to Mexico City, and we're doing another 2 weeks in the northeast of the United States, and then in the fall we're working on a Europe tour. I can't say anything specific about dates at this point, but that's the plan for the fall. And writing the new record all along at the same time. Awesome. Well, good luck with everything, and thank you so much for taking the time and talking to us today. Thank you.